Hey guys, it's Kayla and I'm back with another video. Today's video is going to be all about finances and budgeting. I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted to see a finance type video, and every single person who responded to the poll said yes. So I'm gonna sit down today and take you through updating my budget for 2021 and answer your questions when it comes to saving, budgeting, all of that. The first thing I want to do is update my budget for this new year. It's really not going to look that much different than 2020, but I do want to just review it, make sure everything is good to go for this new year. I'm really trying to be better about saving my money. A lot of you guys ask questions about setting up a budget, and there's a lot of different ways you can do it. There's a few main rules that are out there about setting up a budget. The first kind of budgeting rule I've heard about is the one where you spend 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on savings. So 50% of your need items would be rent, utilities, prescriptions, like main things that you have to spend money on. The wants are obviously things you want to spend money on, you don't need to spend money on, and then 20% is savings. Another way to break it down is by rent, spending, and savings. So 30% goes towards rent, 20% goes to savings, and then 50% goes to all other spending, whether it's bills, necessity spending, or more fun, just whatever spending. Those are the two main ways I've seen people break it down. Obviously you can do whatever your heart contents to your budget, but I think those are kind of the main theories when it comes to budgeting. I would say I follow more of the second principle, but it's definitely a little bit different. So let me take you through that. My rent accounts for 33% of my budget, so it's a little bit over that 30%. A few people asked about average rents in your area. California in general is just very expensive, especially living in one of the major hubs, but San Diego is the cheapest of the major hubs, I would say. San Francisco, Bay Area, and LA being the two most expensive. Rent is always going to be a bit of a higher expense for me because I live in California. I can't see myself moving as much as it would probably save me a lot of money, but I love California too much to go anywhere else. The fact that it's only 33% of my budget is pretty good. I think if we move anywhere else, my rent will probably take up a larger percentage of that. Right now, my rent is fairly low for where I live. Next, talking a little bit about spending and bills. I set my spending way lower than the percentage it tells you to. If I go over that, then I'm still under the percentage, if that makes sense. If I budgeted the full 50%, then I'd probably spend that amount and wouldn't save as much, but I set mine way lower. So if I actually stick to my budget, yay me, I can throw all the rest of that money into savings. But if I go over that because an unexpected expense comes up, I'm not struggling. I still have that extra cushion of room. My budgeted percentage for spending and bills is 30%. That includes groceries, utilities, all of the kind of necessary expenses. It also includes restaurants / going out and shopping expenses as well. So I try and keep it under that 30%. But again, if I go over that up to 40 or 50%, I still have room in my budget to do that. But I really try and stick to that 30% because I'm really trying to focus on saving right now, especially with the world as it is. I'm not going out and doing things, so I can be saving a lot more right now than maybe a year from now when things are open again and we want to travel and do things. I'd rather save money now while I can. For budgeting, I use the app Mint. I know there's quite a few different budgeting apps, or a lot of people use Excel too. I find Mint to be the easiest. I can connect it to my bank accounts and it lists all my expenses and spending. Sorry if I'm looking down at the app so I can kind of talk you through it more. I will go through the different categories I have. The first one is bills and utilities, which is very self-explanatory. Next, we have business services. For me, this is things I spend money on for YouTube, podcasting, all of that. I have my Later subscription, my Canva subscription, my Natalie Barbu Patreon subscription, and then also my Squarespace websites. I bundle all of those together into business services because that's a category on Mint. Then we have music for my Spotify subscription, and I also have a financial category, which is basically my Acorns subscription, my Acorns investing. I use that for more fun investing. I would not use that for serious investing, but it is just $20 a month that I put into there, and it's grown quite a bit over the last few years I've done that. So I include that in my actual budget breakdown, not in my savings category. Then under food and dining, we have coffee shops. This is not something as much I'm using now. It was more pre-COVID when I was going to Starbucks several times a week. Normally going to Starbucks a few times a week would be considered a fun expense, not a necessity, but to me, I really considered it a necessity expense because I was going to Starbucks to work every day, not just to get coffee. Otherwise, I would have just made it at home, but it was truly worth spending the money because it got me out of the house. It got me working somewhere else. Co-working spaces are so expensive. I'd rather just spend a little bit of money a few times a week to go to Starbucks. Then we have groceries and restaurants. This breakdown has definitely changed a bit since COVID. I used to spend more money on restaurants / going out. That's kind of what I loop it under than groceries. But right now I'm spending more on groceries, obviously, because we are staying at home and cooking at home more and not really going out at all. So definitely more money going to groceries now. The last few categories are pharmacy for my prescription every month. We have pet food and supplies. That's just things we need for Rosie, whether it's a grooming appointment, her food, whatever it is. And then lastly, we have shopping, which is just whatever I want to spend my money on for fun. Those are all the categories for my monthly expenses, both the more serious bills, prescriptions, groceries, and then also the more fun restaurants, shopping, whatever it is. I have both of those categories, everything listed out in there. This is just what works the best for me. Try out the different apps, see which one works best for you, but having some kind of set budget somewhere, whether it's Excel or an app, really helps. That's my budget for 2021. Like I said, not that much different than 2020. It might change later on in the year if kind of COVID goes away or gets better, but for now we're definitely trying to spend less money, be really strict with our budget, and save more. Now I want to answer some of the questions you guys sent me. I feel like that was just the easiest way to go over what you guys wanted to talk about. If you're not following my Instagram at @itskayla_comden, you definitely should, because that's where I ask the most for recommendations, what you guys want to see on my channel. So if you want to participate in the feedback, go follow me on Instagram. Quite a few people asked how to balance saving money with treating yourself. The question itself kind of answers it. It's about a balance. I think if you are too hard on yourself about saving money, you're going to overspend. At least that's the case with me. If I really try and do like a no spend and not spend anything, then I kind of go out of control and buy way too many things. But if I treat myself a little bit here and there, overall I'm a lot better about reducing the amount that I'm spending and put more into savings. It's finding that balance. You don't want to spend too much money, but also you need to buy yourself things and treat yourself on a regular basis. Otherwise you're gonna go a little bit crazy. Yes, it's good to save money, but it's also good to be realistic and realize you're a human being with wants and needs more than just saving money. Someone asked for tips for saving in retirement while you're young. I don't think it matters exactly how you save for retirement, as long as you are saving for it in some way, whether you open a 401k through your company or a Roth IRA that's separate. Personally, I don't have a 401k with my company just because it's a really small company. Hopefully in the future I can open one of those. Currently, I'm saving for retirement through a Roth IRA. I opened one towards the end of 2020 and put money into that, and then I will be putting money into that every year. You can contribute a max of $6,000 a year to your Roth IRA, which to me really did not seem like a lot. I was like, you can only put in $6,000, but if you kind of do a calculator online, seeing how much money that could be by the time you retire, if you just put in $6,000 a year starting when you're 22, 23, it really starts to add up. The biggest thing is start as soon as possible. If you are 22, 23 and you have a full-time job, start putting money into a retirement account. I'm so glad I'm starting my Roth IRA now at a fairly young age, and hopefully that will grow over time. Do your research, figure out what retirement options are available to you, and start saving in some way. It is important to have kind of a personal savings too. I have a few months of rent in my personal savings account just connected to my regular bank account, but I also am making sure to put money every month into this retirement savings as well. A lot of people ask for tips and tricks when it comes to budgeting and managing money. I touched on this earlier, but the biggest thing for me is making my budget and my spending less than I'm actually willing to spend per month. So that recommended 50% or whatever it is, I make mine less than that. Mine's at 30%, so that if some other extra expense comes up, or if it's the Christmas season, so I'm spending more money on gifts, if I have to go above that 30%, I'm still way under that 50%. For me, that works the best, just making my budget as low as possible, and then if I do go over it, being conscious of that and trying to be better the next month. But if I make it lower than I actually am willing to spend, then I stay under my budget and I stay under that bigger budget as well. A few people asked about paying off student loans and how to start paying off student loans. I think a big reason why I haven't talked about finances or budgeting in the past was because I felt a little bit weird about this, just because I don't have any student loan payments, and I know that is not the norm. I did take out federal student loans during college to pay for school, but my grandparents so graciously paid it off for me at the start of 2020. So I always just felt kind of weird talking about it, because I know that is a normal expense that most post-grad people have to pay, and I'm very, very privileged in the fact that I don't have student loan payments. I always want to be open and honest with you guys, but for me, I don't know, it just feels weird not having that payment, especially because I always thought I would have that payment. So I don't know. I just want to be very honest about that, but I've always felt kind of weird talking about it just because I know some people can be judgmental about finances and budgeting and loans and things like that. I think that's the last question I have to answer in today's video. If you guys want to see more finance budgeting videos, let me know in the comments down below. We can definitely do more of these. I just want to make sure they are helpful and beneficial to everyone. I think this video ended up being super long, so I'm just going to hop off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video.